Hey, you guys, this is part 2 of my discussion with Mark and Mayda. We had some technical difficulties. So we did part 1, which if you haven't watched it yet, please do. In part 1, Mark and Mayda tell us this incredible story of mushroom ceremony that they attended that ended up being quite dark and demonic, not the healing ceremony they were hoping to attend. And it does play a role in their story of their godly life now, because it showed them that there really is a spiritual battle, which I say over and over in my videos. And that's really what allowed me to turn to Christ as well, understanding that the spiritual battle is real. There is an enemy. Evil is actually a real thing. And so Mark and Mayda, let's go from where we left off last time. You made it home safe and sound. And then what happened?
You want to take it from here?
Yeah, so we made it home, and the first couple of days, of course, I think we were probably in shock.
Yeah, totally.
Just kind of running.
Like we made it home, we were barefoot.
We were barefoot.
Like we made it home barefoot. Like we got out of there, we had like taken off.
He looked like a caveman. His hair was all, he had twigs coming out of his hair. It was
from being
crazy.
tackled. Yeah, it was crazy.
He had burn marks everywhere, so of course we had to deal with that. His hand's broken, so we had to deal with that. But it took us a good, we just kind of had to sit in the moment, I think, for a good 4 or 5 days. It took us like 4 or 5 days to kind of get ourselves out of the little rut, I guess, that we were in, because I think we were kind of, I was kind of let down. I was kind of mad at myself, upset, kind of, you're just going through all these emotions, and I went through something a couple of years ago, which actually started our path just to finding God. I almost passed away giving birth to our daughter for three and a half years ago. I went into liver failure with her when I was 5 months pregnant, and actually had the option. They actually were very encouraging. They were encouraging me to abort her to save my life. And at that moment, everybody's telling you, don't, you have to think about yourself. You have to think about you. You have to think about the family you do have. Don't go through with this. They told me that I only had a 10% chance of making it if I delivered my daughter. So,
oh my goodness, that must have been so scary.
Yeah, so that's actually where our
faith really started.
It started there, and I think that's why I was kind of really mad at myself going forward through the ceremony, and kind of being disappointed with myself, because I thought, we were doing so good, and then we put ourselves in this situation.
Like, how did we fall to this spiritual deception after our
It was like a spiritual deception.
Because we had experienced God's grace in that instance, and I genuinely felt the presence of Christ in the delivery, in the waiting room. And that's when I really started coming out of the whole Kundalini aspect, like really into Christ. And I didn't see Christ, but I could I felt his presence, and I knew everything was okay in that moment. And the atmosphere around me definitely was not what it was before that moment. That was a life-changing experience, to say the least. And seeing God's grace and gifting us with our beautiful daughter, and she's okay and healthy, and it's crazy to think about. I'm
still here, and I'm still dealing with issues myself, but you know what? I'm a lot healthier than I should be, and I'm a lot better than I should be. And in all honesty, I should be dead.
According to what they tried to tell us.
According to what they tried to say.
But God had a different plan.
So I'm here, and so yeah, that's where I guess we kind of went off the wagon there, is trying to find stuff spiritually. So we ended up there, coming back home. Then it took us like 5 days to fully recover, because I think we were both kind of just in shock and very disappointed in ourselves.
Well, it took me a lot longer to recover.
Yeah. Yeah. He had to recover because he's the one that actually went in the fire and broke his hand. But
I feel like I'm still recovering. But it's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be all right.
And, I was like, something's telling me I just need to focus on God and not all this. You're the one, and you're the one that's going to be enlightened, and you're the enlightened one, and you're the God, or you're the goddess. And people are throwing that word around now.
It's a lot. It's very popular.
Goddess, and you're such a goddess, and you're such a god. And it's
like I don't want that. Don't put me on that pedestal,
don't put me
please.
on that pedestal.
The divine feminine, divine masculine.
Yeah, it's kind of just, I don't like that. I'm just, and so I was kind of lost for a little bit, kind of upset with myself. So I decided I felt like God, my friend just said, you know what, let's just go to this church. It's a really good church, and let's just go. And I just realized when I walked in there, I just felt the presence of God. And I was just like, you know what, this is what I needed. And he's telling us that the shrooms were not good. The shrooms are bad. You need to come back to me. You need to come back home. Come back home. This is where you belong. This is where you should be. This is where you belong. You're going to feel a lot more happier as long as you follow me, as long as you follow God, and only one God, and that's him, So.
And had you been reading the Bible at all around this time?
No, not really. He's more or less the reader of the family. It's really hard for me to read the Bible, honestly, but I do get the verses, and he's more the reader of the Bible. He reads the Bible a lot. I've been trying to get more better at it, but with 2 kids and working.
Oh, yeah.
To kind of sit there.
Wow.
She's a very busy.
Very, very busy.
Yeah, and Mark, I'm sure you can share with her what.
Oh, definitely.
Reading and
I'm always bugging her about Church of Eternal Logos streams.
Yeah, he's always bugging me about that. And when that happened, when I went to that church and I felt that presence of God, I said, you know what, Mark? Because I went by myself with my friend at first, just to kind of feel it out, because we were kind of let down. We don't want to go anywhere and put our all in something. So
to be spiritually deceived, right?
Yeah. So I said, Mark, just kind of give this a shot. And we went the next weekend, and we've been going ever since. And I think he'll go into more about that.
So we started attending this church like shortly after that ceremony, and then I was really wrapped up in the whole synchronicity mind state. I was like, oh, this synchronicity led me here and there and there and there. And I still do believe in synchronicity, but my former belief of it was more Jungian or Carl Jung based. And I was really into Carl Jung's books. I had his last book, Man and His Symbols, and all that. And I was really into that. And that's why it was so powerful for me to see Church of Eternal Logos' stream, where he broke down Logos Spermatikos. And there is truths in these other aspects of philosophy and religion. And but back to the sermon that I heard, the pastor was speaking, and he started talking about how people, I have it written down here so that I don't forget, but he was talking about people looking at their scars, and a lot of people ask, why me, God? Why have I been through all this, and I left with all these scars, and why have I been through so much? But in reality, those scars are actually a testament to the grace of God, because you're still alive, you're still here to speak about these scars and to enjoy life. And so in reality, those scars, you should be grateful for those. And they're actually a testament to the grace of God and what he's helped you make it through with him by your side. So I thought that was really cool, because I was sitting there with like scars sticking to the inside of my shirt from like wounds from a fire. And I'm like crying, and it's just like, it was just I felt the Holy Spirit speaking through him in that moment to me. And it was a very beautiful thing. And I was like, this is where we need to be right now in our journey in faith. And it felt really right. And that was a beautiful moment for me. So it spoke to me, and it's beautiful how David Patrick Carey breaks it down, how synchronicities are actually the origin of them being under God's providence.
Yes.
And not originating from our own subconscious, like something we projected out of our subconscious into reality, because we're not God. We're not gods, we're not goddesses. We are not the creators of reality, of this reality world. So
and
it's very key to keep that in mind.
Did you guys ever hear about angel numbers and like?
Oh yeah.
I was
we were. Oh man, I was all into.
He was he's more into that kind of
I was
stuff.
all into that
I'm
stuff.
always kind of like
I
the
was
one
deep.
that goes, "What are you doing?"
I'd be like, look at my phone. It's 11:11.
It's like,
Yeah.
right. Like,
It's 12:12.
He was really into it.
Every time I look at my phone, it's 3:33.
Yeah.
Somebody's trying to say something, and I'm like,
I was deep into the
know.
numerology and like there's 33 vertebrae in your back, and Jesus died at 33, and there's 33 Masonic. I mean, I could go forever, the whole life, you know. And I went down all the rabbit holes, conspiratorial.
Oh, yeah.
And there's and I still, I mean, let's not get too deep into that.
Well, he likes conspiracy.
I like conspiracies, and
Yeah. Well, some of them are not theories. They're
conspiracy theories. Some of them are actually truths.
Yeah.
It's so funny
Most
how
of
they
them.
turn it around. They turn it around and make us seem like crazy people, you know? They make us seem like we're...
Well, conspiracy theorist is just a term made up by the CIA to get people to stop talking about the JFK, but that's a conspiracy.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
But
so,
yeah.
when you so you went back, okay, you're going to church. Were there still people in your life that didn't understand?
Totally.
And did they feel judged? Did they feel like they had to defend their new aginess to you?
Yeah. I probably wasn't the most graceful, honestly, and I'm still working on my grace. At this time. I've been praying a lot on how to be more graceful with speaking my truth in a way that doesn't have to demean anybody else, but just glorifies God and Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Really, I prayed on that today, that hopefully this testimony would come across in that light, and hopefully not in a way where I'm being super judgmental of anybody else and saying, hey, you're demonic or you're evil, because that's really not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is I think deep down we're actually inherently have a piece of the logos within all of us and the word of God, and that's really what's driving people to do a lot of what they do. And you can still fall into spiritual deception, and that doesn't mean that you are evil.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And it's very evil. It's very easy to fall into that, because I myself fell into it and was part of that for a long, long time. And so I can relate in that aspect.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that. And it's something I struggle with too. I mean, on my Instagram, I'd say 90% of the people that follow me are Christians, but there's like that 10%. And sometimes I'm about to post something and I think, is this going to come across as judgmental against people in the new age? But at the same time, we can't always be second guessing ourselves before we post truth, you know, and how that person perceives what we said is really not our business. And because our intention is to share things that helped us turn our lives around, we can't think, oh, I better not post that because that could hurt someone's feelings. And the other thing I noticed when I was still in the new age coaching industry and I was on Facebook, I would see in some of the women's entrepreneur groups when somebody, and these were huge groups. These were not just coaches. They were just like any kind of women, any woman entrepreneur could be in these groups. And some of them had like 80,000 members. And if somebody posted something like, does anybody pull tarot cards to make their professional decisions? And then you'd get all these women saying, all these women would say, I do, of course I do, every day. And fine, okay, fine. But then if a Christian said, I don't, I pray on it, that just the Christian, just for saying I pray if I need to have direction with my business, that's it. She didn't say because tarot is evil, because tarot is demonic, and you guys are witches if you're doing that. Nothing like that. And that Christian would get so attacked, saying that she was attacking the rest of the people who were pulling tarot. And this happened over and over and over again. I could not believe it, because when I was in the new age and doing that kind of stuff, that's how I perceived those kinds of comments too. Oh, she's a Christian, so she must think we're just these evil demonic people. But that's not the point. I mean, maybe there are Christians who think that, but these women were just sharing. So there's no tolerance allowed to Christians who give their perspective on what they do instead of drawing tarot cards. It's so frustrating because
I think he's more or less, because I'm a little bit more humble with it and I try not to offend people.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to offend anybody.
He's been attacked so hard.
I can come in hot with the truth.
Certain situations, and sometimes, you know, I'm all for it. You know, so more or less, I'm all for it, because you know what, if you don't like it, you can always move past. You don't have to be offended by it, but obviously, if you're offended by it, something's bothering you about it.
Usually you wouldn't take offense if there wasn't some sort of truth in it that triggered a certain aspect.
So he does get attacked a lot.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's I feel like that's part of the cross you kind of bear when you start speaking the truth in Jesus Christ. You could just be saying, good morning, I love Jesus Christ, I'm going to pray today, and you're going to get attacked.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like why do you, like one of the most attacks, why do you believe in the fake man? You know, like he never existed.
Well, no, but there's historical proof. I mean, he really did.
I know, but still people don't want to believe that. Other people don't.
Yeah, no, there's real. Yeah, you can break it down on a physical level, but definitely there's definitely an aspect of faith that needs to be incorporated. It's what you put your faith in at a certain point. And a lot of people are putting their faith in worldly things and science, and we're choosing to put our faith in Jesus Christ. And it's been working out really well for us so far, incredibly well. And it doesn't mean that there's no struggle. I mean, there's definitely struggle, but it's so worth it to be the fruits of living in truth. And
I think ever since we've dove in more into faith ourselves together, we've just become a stronger couple.
So tell us, I really would love to hear more about that. Tell us about that.
So I don't know, we're very I'm very conservative when it comes to certain things not so conservative, but I do have a tough side to me, you know, and I do have triggers to me, and I do have things. So it takes work to be in a relationship with me, and I think the same for him. But I think we found that once we understand that we're in this purpose with God together, we just don't give up on each other. I think that's what's pulled us through. Because I don't think that we will be able to make it on our own without him, honestly. Through everything that we've been through, because we've been through a lot, just with not just ourselves, but I'm saying in life situations, like, well, both my parents are gone, they've passed already, his dad's gone. We've just been through so much at a young age that I think we've grown a lot from it together, and I think it's just helped our faith grow stronger. And I think we're probably one of the most strongest couples that people are, I think, we are kind of intimidated by us in a certain way, just by how powerful we are. But I want to be more powerful in the God sense of trying to just help people turn their lives around, you know, help couples understand that if not to give up on each other, you know, because there's a lot of marriages failing, a lot of people just arguing with each other and giving up on each other. I think that if you really try with faith, you can make it.
But I think it definitely, putting a faith in in God and Jesus Christ is definitely a big part in knowing that there's more to this world than just what you see in front of your eyes and what's presented to us in this worldly fashion, and there's more beyond the flesh, that there is you know, eternal life through Jesus Christ, which he conquered death on the cross, and through a journey of, you know, coming into the concept of theosis and becoming more like Christ, and, you know, even attaining for the real divine feminine for women, which could be the holy Theotokos, the Virgin Mary, which is a much more attainable goal since she was human in nature like us. And, you know, just moving forward towards those goals, and through the grace of God, seeing how beautiful it can be.
And I think also having also separating, like, I think it's a good thing that, you know, the male is the male and the female is the female. I find a lot of relationships
embracing those
now
roles.
A lot of relationships are like, we're equal, we're this, we're that. Like, well, no, I understand that, but honestly, there's certain situations where he's better at, and certain situations where I'm better at. That's just the given point. And why wouldn't I want to do that if I'm, if I'm meant to do that? And I feel like people are trying to separate that, or trying to make it as if,
well, they're trying to invert it.
Yeah.
It's an inversion to break down the foundation of the family household.
Yeah.
And it's the inversion of truth. And that's how I believe demonic entities work, is to invert God's uncreated energies and essences and just kind of, try to flip them on their head.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many examples in society today of how this is portrayed and glorified, we could do a whole show on that. In fact, Church of the Eternal Logos talks about it a lot. And
I just feel very strongly about a man being a man and a woman being a woman, not necessarily like a woman in a certain sense of the body aspect, but being an actual woman, handling business like a woman, and the man handles his business like a man. Don't be a man who just kind of, just is in the corner and just allowing things to happen, because in all honesty, a woman doesn't want that.
Yeah, I know. And
I want to know them protected and that, things like that. So I'm a very firm believer in that kind of thing. And I'm still getting used to it, because I was always very independent. Growing up, I was always like, for me. I'm the one that's going to do everything. I'm the one that's in charge. So for me, it's very, very hard to kind of let that roll, but slowly but surely, with the faith of God, and just kind of like, just allowing it to happen little by little.
And seeing the fruits firsthand.
Yeah.
Experience. Like, we literally won a car through church. And it's like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, if you believe in God, you're gonna win a car. But I'm telling you, the way it happened was super like synchronistic. Like, it was like undeniable that God's divine presence was there and his hand was on that situation, because the way it happened, we were at a church. This was before the ceremony too. We were attending a different non-denominational church at one point. And man, how did it happen? Do you remember it really good? She's really good at this.
They were gonna have a raffle for a car to give out, and our car that we had was about to die down. And me working far away, I have to have some type of car for transportation. So our car was on its last leg. We've been needing a car for so long, and we've been struggling for so long after my daughter's death. I mean, after we
were recovering financially.
We can even make a whole thing about that, when we were evicted from our apartment while I was
like
in the
on
hospital,
Christmas.
on Christmas Day.
It was crazy.
So it was really intense for us.
It was a rough time.
Very rough time. So financially, it was really rough. So
we really needed that car.
That car, God was talking to me, and I'm telling you, he spoke to me. He said, this car is for you. You just need to do what you need to do and sign up for it. And me, being I only had like 5 friends, I asked my 5 friends and my 5 family members to help me with the raffle, and they just had to include their email. So I had literally like 5 people nominating me. This car had over, I think, maybe 500 votes, and 300 of those votes, 3 of those people
had 100 nominations.
Had 100 nominations.
They had a lot of friends in the area in the church, but we weren't.
Oh my gosh!
That 5 people, they did a little raffle on the phone or whatever. The night of, he was all looking at me like I was crazy. He's like, I just don't want you giving your hopes up, because I don't know, like you're being super confident about winning this car. I don't know if you're gonna win it. And I was like, no, like just trust me on this. We're gonna win it. God is like literally speaking to me right now. Like he's telling me that if I don't do this right now, it's like he's putting this in front of me for me. And I was like, and you know what's gonna happen? He's gonna mess with me too, and they're gonna call somebody, and that person's not gonna be there. And I said, and then they're gonna call my name after that. And that's exactly what happened. They called me, that person ended up not being there, so then they did another raffle thing, and then it was my name. And he just looked at me and he was just like, crazy. What the hell? I said, I told you this was for me.
Wow,
but
you guys.
If you just allow God, and that's what I'm trying to say, if you just allow God to speak, he speaks to you. He doesn't physically say what he wants you to do, but it's this inner, like, inner click in your head that's a right, it just feels right. And you're like, something's speaking to me. And it's the same feeling that I got when people were telling me to get rid of my baby and have the abortion of the baby. He told me the same thing. He said, you don't listen to any of these people, you just go with the flow. You go with the flow, I got it. Go with the flow and I got it. And look, here I am now. And that's just, I guess that's our journey to faith, and how, you know, we kind of went from crazy people to trying to be humble, graceful,
to crazy people again.
trying to be, yeah, we went back and forth. But now it's more like we understand.
We have a more steady ground.
Now we have more, yeah, now we definitely have more foundation. And I think that, in all honesty, that ceremony that we did really opened our eyes. And I think, you know, it's gonna help us tell other people to stay clear of that kind of thing, because it's such a, you get fascinated with that kind of stuff, the new age stuff, and being,
yeah, it's so attractive. It's so, it is, like I've heard you mention, it is like almost seductive to all different types of people. You know what I mean? Like the crystal healing and the psychedelic light, and it, you know, it plays into people's egos, and it tells them a lot of things they want to hear.
Yeah.
So it's definitely very enticing in that aspect.
Yeah, so we're just trying to say, well, yeah, everything that might look nice doesn't end up being always nice in the end. You know, you really have to think for yourself and believe in God.
And I'm really grateful for David Patrick Harry, because I also just coming out of that whole experience and hearing his experience and hearing your mate Tom and his experience on ayahuasca, it totally reminded me of freaking out there on my mushroom experience, where he like freaked out. He had to be pinned down by a bunch of people. I was like, oh my God, that's very, like, I can really relate to that. And it just really hit a lot of notes with me. A lot of the things that he was touching on through logos, spermatikos, that was so powerful. How there's, because I did find aspects of truth in certain other philosophies and things. And I was trying to spiritually work that out in my head and my heart, like how is this so true though? And then it's like,
yeah.
But when you break it down through logos, spermatikos, he explains literally every aspect of like the new age, from sacred geometry to divine, feminine, to somatics, to like energies and vibrations, and relates it in a orthodox Christianity perspective. It's like, it's mind blowing, and that really led me to start reading the church fathers, people like St. John Chrysostom and St. Justin Martyr, and getting into people like Father Seraphim Rose, and just all these other awesome minds that are contributing to just the orthosphere, or whatever you want to refer to it as. It's just a beautiful thing, and I'm so happy to have come into contact with it, and very grateful to God for leading me here, and for the people that he's working through, like David and Church of Eternal Logos.
Oh my gosh, I feel the same way. I'm so grateful every day for our community, and you know, using the internet for something so positive as sharing our stories on how we, well, for you, rediscovered your faith. For me, it was just having faith in God for the first time in my life. And it just fills me with so much enthusiasm. And I'm so grateful that I have this platform and I can share all of our stories with my audience. And you guys are great. I love learning about you. And is there anything else you want to share with the audience before we wrap it up?
Sure, I'll share a quote from a cool book that I like called Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, which is something I'm revisiting right now. And let's see, it's right here. It goes, my argument against God was that the universe seems so cruel and unjust. But how had I got this idea of just and unjust? A man does not call a line crooked unless he has some idea of a straight line. What was I comparing this universe with when I was calling it unjust? That's it. I thought that was pretty cool, and kind of related to a lot of just logic and using logic and reason to show the existence of God. And that's something that I also saw David Patrick Harry do. So I thought that would be fitting.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've never read that book, but I hear quotes from that book constantly. So I think maybe I'll buy it and read it. So I'll put a link to that book in the description. And the Logos Spermatikos stream, I'll put a link to that as well. And yeah, anything else you guys want me to put in there in the description, I'll add those too. So Mayda and Mark, thank you so much. And I'll put your Instagram too.
Yeah, definitely.
Mark,
Sure.
you have 2 Instagrams.
I do.
He used to until that one got shut down.
The other one shut down, the Reaching for Light with no underscore. That one got shut down for speaking out on the Kufid. I'm not going to say the word.
But I saw it. I mean, it's still there.
Yeah, no, I can't log back into it though.
Oh,
Yeah, they locked me out. It's still up though.
Yeah, it's
right?
still up though. So
oh, you had like 1,000.
Yeah, I was doing good. I was doing
Yeah.
good, and he got shut down because I mean,
I was speaking some truth, a little too much truth.
yeah, which can get him in trouble sometimes. But it's a little intense sometimes, but I love it.
I keep her on her toes. You know?
All right, you guys. Well, to my audience, thank you so much for watching, and apologies for having a part 1 and part 2, but sometimes we just have to roll with the punches. And for any ladies watching, I want to let you know I have a Telegram chat group that is a private chat. You can send me a message on Instagram for an invitation, and it's for anyone interested in Orthodoxy. You do not have to be an Orthodox Christian. You can be just starting to learn about Christianity and have even the tiniest interest in Orthodox Christianity. I will add you to the group. And otherwise, please like, share, and subscribe. Share this video with someone in your life who might be struggling, trying to figure out, is psychedelics the route to truth, or maybe there's another way, and hopefully this video will help inspire that person. So thanks you guys for watching. Thank you to my moderators who've been helping in the chat. We have so much fun on the premieres. I try to do them at least twice a week at 5 PST. So subscribe so you can get notifications for when those videos go up. And thanks again, Mark and Mayda. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for having us. God bless.
Goodbye.
God bless everybody. Goodbye.